Everybody, Cinema Sickness here with your daily sickness video, and as always, hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And I had a pretty good day today because I headed out to Jake's Flea Market, and you guys know how much I love Jake's. I literally just got back. I am still caked in dust. I'll explain that in a second. So went out to Jake's, had a great time, but unfortunately, it was very windy, very warm, and very dusty at Jake's today due to the fact that their walkways there are all just dirt, like dirt gravelstone walkways, and it was extremely windy today, and it was just kicking up dust everywhere. Everything was covered in dust. Everybody was covered in dust. My eyes are still incredibly itchy. Everybody was coughing and sneezing, and everything was blowing over. It was insane. It was like being in the Dust Bowl. It was like 1930s Great Depression. It was crazy how much dust was kicking up at Jake's today. It was absolutely insane. But I was very excited to get back out there. Nevertheless, you gotta weather through all that crap just to get the good deals if you're a true deal hunter, and many of us did, including myself, and I got some really cool stuff. So definitely, again, very excited to get back out there, as I haven't been out there as much as I wanted to this year, but it's still the spring. Once the summer hits, hopefully I'll get out there a lot more than I did last year. I was kind of slacking a little bit last year, so hopefully this year I'll get out there a lot more and get some more great deals. And again, I definitely got some good deals today, so shot some video, so let's go do some media hunting. Well, alright guys, here we are back at it, Jake's Flea Market. So excited to be back out here. As you can see, the place is hopping. Lots of people selling stuff. Definitely an awesome day. And right off the bat, come across a guy who has a whole table here full of DVDs and VHS. Unfortunately, most of his DVDs were very sun damaged, and as such, I pretty much passed on everything. Had he had maybe something rare or obscure, I might have bought it, but with it being sun damaged, I just passed. Wasn't going to grab anything. His VHS here in the standard paper cases were pretty good. Not too much sun damage on any of those. But unfortunately, all his clamshells here, very much sun damaged. And that's a shame because there were a few clamshell titles I would have picked up, but I had to pass due to the sun damage. And then on to these guys. These are my favorite guys who sell at Zern's Farmers Market. You guys have seen me in their store before. These are the guys who have a ton of bootleg Disney titles. And they're a little shady. From what I hear, they're actually selling their store. I don't know if that has anything to do with the bootlegs or not, but I guess business is not going well for these people, so they're here selling at Jake's as well. They had some decent titles. Unfortunately, nothing I needed. And a lot of Disney stuff here. Now, some of this stuff is legit, but as you can see, a lot of this stuff is bootlegs. Most of those Disney titles right there, bootleg Disney titles. Very sad to see that. I think of all the people out there buying these, not knowing what they're actually buying. And they had seasons of Game of Thrones, which is pretty cool, but I passed on those. So unfortunately, I didn't pick up a single title from these people, but I'm not too upset by that because they're bootleggers, and that's not cool. So it is what it is. This person had a boatload of DVDs and CDs as well. Ton of stuff, some interesting titles. Nothing that I really had too much interest in grabbing, unfortunately, though. With the exception of there was some Yu-Gi-Oh! In here, which is pretty cool. Would have liked to have grabbed that. Unfortunately, the discs were a little scuffed up, so I passed. But I did end up grabbing 5 CDs off this lady, and some awesome stuff as well, so definitely a score there. This lady here, she used to get new titles in all the time, but over the past maybe like 2 years, hasn't gotten anything new in, so unfortunately I passed on all that. And a lot of CDs, and a lot of DVDs, but unfortunately a lot of stuff I did not need. That was kind of the name of the game. This day. It was a lot of stuff, unfortunately just a lot of stuff I didn't need to pick up. And these were awesome, these Simpsons Halloween sets, so amazingly cool. Would have loved to, well, some of them were Halloween, some of them were other stuff, but I would have loved to have grabbed them. They're really, really cool. And this Mickey glass here, look at that, so amazing. But what was I going to do with them? I don't know, I passed. And $5 season sets. I actually ended up picking one title up off this lady. She had a lot of really cool stuff. That Jeff Corwin set was awesome, but unfortunately it was scratched. But she had a lot of really neat stuff, but only ended up grabbing one title off her. But for $5, it was a great deal. And then look at this, guys. Tons and tons of CDs, DVDs, video games, all kinds of media. This guy had a ton of stuff, and Hot Wheel cars. Apparently he was into selling those as well. So a ton of stuff here. I looked through everything this guy had to offer. Unfortunately, not a single title I needed to pick up. I couldn't believe it. I figured I'd at least grab at least one CD. Nothing. He did have some ska, though, with some compilations and the OC Supertones, a whole bunch of Christian ska. Yeah, I passed on that, unfortunately. But he did have Spice Girls, so it's not all bad. And as you can see, today was an extremely dusty and windy day. Everything was blowing over. I felt so bad for anybody trying to sell stuff today. My eyes were just caked with dust. It was insane. But you got to put up with that stuff to get the good deals. And on to some more CDs here. But unfortunately, on to some more CDs I didn't need. And they did have some DVDs as well. But again, stuff I didn't need to pick up. And as you can see, they actually had some decent titles. That was brand new factory seal. That's really cool. A lot of new stuff here, a lot of really good deals, but unfortunately just stuff I already have and do not need to pick up. So I did pass on all of that. And then on to some more cheap season sets and some cool stuff. But again, stuff I didn't need. And some decent titles in there as well, but again, just stuff I don't need to pick up, stuff I already own. And Blu-rays. Always nice to come across Blu-rays, but Blu-rays I already have. Again, name of the game today is just titles I already own. Even Seasons of Dexter, very cool, but I have them. And $2 CDs, but unfortunately this is mostly like all country, but not good country. It was like 70s and 80s and the like 90s country stuff I had no interest in. And look, 50 cents, good tapes. That was the weirdest thing I've seen today at the flea market. Very odd. And then some kids titles, but again, nothing I needed to pick up, so I passed on those. And some more $2 CDs and a lot more stuff I did not need. There was a lot of country at this flea market. And again, more stuff I didn't need, except for some peanuts. For $2, had to grab that. That was cool. And look, a 16mm film projector. Nice. Really excited about that. But I didn't know if it worked. The seller didn't know if it worked. And he wanted a bit too much for it. So unfortunately, I passed. But it was really cool to see that nevertheless. And oh my god, a Mickey rotary phone. Absolutely amazing. That was really cool. And a bunch of kids titles. There were a few adult titles in here, but mostly kids titles. All for $1 a piece. But again, a lot of stuff I either didn't have once or already have. So unfortunately, great prices, but I had to pass on all that. And then some VHS here. And I almost grabbed this as Flyers VHS, but I don't know, I passed on it. And this is the only thing I grabbed. This is pretty cool. Sing-along songs. I'm trying to get all those. I have most of them, but didn't have Volume 9, so I picked it up. Even some DVDs there, but nothing I needed to grab. And then some more Blu-rays here. Some really good titles, too, on Blu-ray. But unfortunately, once again, stuff I already had. But again, some really good titles there. I was actually eyeing up the Golden Compass here just because I didn't have it with a slipcover, but I'm not a big slipcover guy, so for $3, I passed on that. And then everything on this tarp was only $1, including what's in this box here. There was a bunch of CDs, and this caught my eye. Patsy Cline 2-disc compilation. That is awesome. That was mine. And some $1 DVDs here. A lot of stuff I already had, but there were actually 2 titles in here I wanted to pick up, so I did actually grab some stuff off of this guy, which is cool. And more DVDs. This guy had a ton of stuff. Unfortunately, once again, nothing I needed. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but that's just how it was today. A lot of cool stuff, nothing I needed to pick up. And I felt kind of bad because this guy was super nice. He talked me up for a little while, and I kind of felt bad I didn't buy anything off him, but there's nothing I need. There's nothing I need. And a ton more CDs and some DVDs, and this is really cool right here. A Super Bit release of Resident Evil. Not only do I love that movie, but I'm trying to get every Super Bit release, so that was cool. And they also had this amazing VHS tape here of the making of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Coming Out of Their Shells tour. Brand new factory sealed for $1. That was mine. And oh my god, is this what I think it is? It is a SpongeBob TV with the remote. That is rare. Finding the remote, that is amazing. $10 for that. What would I have done with it? I have no idea. So unfortunately I passed, but man, was that amazing. And ooh, Paul Giamatti? Very cool. That's awesome. And then some fishing gear. Actually was a bunch of DVDs marked in a box. Marked fishing gear. I don't know. But again, nothing I needed. There were even some CDs in there. I literally dug through this entire box because there were some decent titles. I was hoping maybe one of these titles I'd want to pick up, but nothing in the fishing gear box, unfortunately. And then some more cheap season sets here. And some more cheap season sets I already own. Even had some titles back here as well for $1. Really good deal. But all titles I have and did not need. Most of those they were rental titles too, which is pretty cool. And then, oh my god, another Mickey phone? Is it fate calling me? Do I need to get one of these? I think I might. That's pretty awesome. And this guy also had one 8mm film reel, so I was very interested in that. And I ended up picking it up. He wanted too much, but I talked him down. You had to grab that. Very cool. And then finally here, a bunch of VHS, a bunch more VHS, and then what is this? An entire box full of beta. This was pretty amazing. And this guy did not want very much for these. In fact, I may or may not have bought this entire box of beta off him. This was a pretty awesome way to end the flea market. Very excited about all that beta. So there you go, guys. That was it again. An extremely windy, dusty day. But if you want to get the good deals, you got to suck it up and deal with it. I couldn't see by the end of my trip, but it was totally worth it. So that is it, guys. So let's take a look at all I picked up. Well, all right, guys, there you go. That was my very warm, windy, dusty trip out to Jake's. Pretty insane today, but weathered through it and got some good deals. So in no particular order, let's take a look at everything I grabbed. So first I'm going to show you here for only $2. I picked up the Vince Guaraldi Trio, a Charlie Brown Christmas. $2 for this. Awesome, awesome deal. I love this, in my opinion. Classic Christmas right here, because it's Christmas I grew up with. I love this CD. I used to have it back in the day, so very happy to get it back into the collection. That is amazing. Very, very cool. $2 for that. Great deal. Then there was a guy who had just a whole tarp, and everything on his tarp was $1 a piece, including some CDs, and I found this. Patsy Cline, The Ultimate Collection. Now, I do already have like a best of Patsy Cline CD in my collection, but what drove me to this was the fact that it was a 2-disc release, so I had to grab it for that alone. Had this been a single disc release, I probably would have passed on it because, again, I already have a best of collection, but this has a boatload of more songs than what I already have, and I love me some Patsy, so definitely had to pick that up for $1. That was a steal. And then for $1 a piece, grab some more CDs here from a lady who had a whole bunch of CDs and a whole bunch of DVDs as well. And the only DVDs I really had any interest in was she had a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Very cool. Would have grabbed pretty much everything she had because they were all $1 a piece as well. I would have grabbed them all. But unfortunately, they were all like just a little scratch. It looks like they maybe were put into like a CD booklet or something like that. It kind of had those scratches where it looks like they've been like taken in and out of a CD booklet or something. So unfortunately, I passed on them, but at least I got some cool music off her. Again, $1 a piece. First thing we have here is Mastodon. Crack the Sky. Awesome. Love Mastodon. Great metal band. This is a really cool find. That was amazing. Then we have The Used with their self-titled album. Very cool as well. The Smashing Pumpkins Zero, the single release, with a bunch of other really cool songs on it as well. And Zero is a great song, so that was a really cool find. Not something I come across too often. The Sex Pistols, Filthy Lucre Live. This is great. This is a live performance of the Sex Pistols. I used to have this one back in the day. This is a really cool release. And again, not something I thought I'd really ever come across again. Pretty random release. So this is a really cool find as well. And then some Ramones with Acid Eaters. Very, very cool. I do love me some Ramones. So an awesome find right there. Great music. Very cool for $1. So that was it for the CDs, but now on to what you really want to see, the cinema. So for $5, I picked up The Office Season 8. Finally getting a hold of this. Unfortunately, I might have told you guys this story before, but unfortunately I made a mistake when it comes to The Office. I have seasons 1, well, I have the original series, the UK series as well, but I also have seasons 1 through 7 of the US series. So I've seen that, I've watched seasons 1 through 7, and then I also watched the series finale when that aired. But because I did that, and I did this all around the same time, like I literally just finished 1 through 7, and like 2 weeks later, the series finale came out, and I watched that. So because of that, I had it stuck in my head that I actually sat down and watched the complete series on DVD. So in my head, I thought, well, I own the complete series. I sat down and watched it all. I own it all. That never happened, actually. I only watched seasons 1 through 7 and then the series finale. So I'm actually missing a few seasons, and for like a few years, I didn't really realize that. And it makes me wonder how many times when I come across seasons of The Office that I need to pick up that I didn't have because I was just stupid and under the impression that I had them, even though I didn't. So now I'm trying to hunt down the last few seasons. I think I need, what, maybe... Is there one more season after? How many seasons were there? 9 or 10? I forget. But I didn't have season 8, so I picked it up. $5. Finally getting this in the collection. So very, very cool. One more down because I'm an idiot, but very, very awesome. Then I end up picking up an 8mm release of Bugs Bunny Rides Again. How cool is that? Some Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam. That is awesome. So very cool. I even love the, look at that. I love that sticker on the film reel. That's really, really cool. So I saw this, thought the guy was going to be asking like nothing for it. He had it just with leaving a bunch of junk. I thought, oh, he's going to be like a buck or two for this. Very cool. He actually wanted $7 for it, which I was not about to do. Was not picking this up for $7. That was not going to happen. So I said, well, would you do $5 for it? And he was like, and I was like, oh no. Okay, fine. So awesome. Got this for only $5. Very cool. Another 8mm film reel for the collection and some Looney Tunes, which is a plus. So very cool. Love picking those up. Then for $1, this is from the guy who, I'm sorry, actually this was actually only 25 cents. It wasn't even $1, it was just 25 cents. I gave the guy $1 and told him to keep the change. So I technically did pay $1 for this, even though he only wanted 25 cents. But this was from the guy who had all those VHS and the DVDs that were all like sun faded, unfortunately. The DVDs I wasn't too upset by because there really wasn't anything that I wanted. I was kind of upset by all the VHS clamshells because he had a few Disney titles I would have liked to have picked up, but it is what it is. I passed on those, but he at least had this, and this is Skeleton Warriors. This being Heart and Soul, apparently volume 2, according to this. I already have volume 1, so that's awesome. So picked up a little Skeleton Warriors here. This is a show I used to watch back in the day. I had some of the action figures of this back in the day too. So that was a pretty cool find. Like I said, it was only 25 cents, but I paid $1 for it because I'm just that nice of a guy. So very, very cool. And then I paid, I believe this was $1 from no, again, I think this was cheaper than $1, but I actually only paid I paid $1 for it. If something's like 50 cents, 25 cents, I'll just give them $1. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, give me my quarters back. I'll just give you $1. That's kind of the way it goes when I'm at a flea market. So I grabbed Sing Along Songs I Love to Laugh, this year being volume 9. I'm trying to get all of these releases because you guys know me, I'm a sucker for anything like numbered. So I want to have all the sing along songs, the number releases, and I didn't have volume 9 yet. So for $1, I actually again less than $1, but I paid $1 for it. Grabbed this, very cool. One more down. Then this was, I believe, $1 for this. I picked up Missing. Never seen it. I know nothing about it, but it looked interesting. Jack Lemmon, Sissy Spacek. Okay, I'm intrigued. The synopsis sounded pretty interesting as well, but I've never seen it. Leave a comment down below if you've seen this one. I'd like to hear what you thought. It was $1. I thought it was cool. I picked it up. And then for a total of $5, this was pretty awesome. This lady had some cool stuff. First thing she had here that I was interested in was Hong Kong 1941. Never seen it, but I was definitely interested. Chow Yun Fat, which is really cool. So, again, I know nothing about this. Leave a comment down below. I'm intrigued, but it looked pretty cool. So I picked that up. It was $2. Also for $2, I grabbed, and this is great, the Super Bit release of Resident Evil. Excited about this because, not so much that it's Resident Evil, I already have like 20 other copies of Resident Evil. I think I have it on, I think I have like a special like DVD release. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on UMD, and who knows, I might have something else. I don't know. But I didn't have this Super Bit release. And it is my goal eventually, someday, hopefully, maybe, to get every US Super Bit release. I would love to. I don't know. I love picking these up. So $2 for a Super Bit release I didn't have yet. Definitely had to grab that. Awesome, awesome find. And then for $1, this was amazing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the making of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour. Brand new, still factory sealed. That is cool. I already had the Coming Out of Their Tour shell VHS, but I didn't have the making of it. So that is absolutely fantastic. This is really, really cool. And again, it's brand new. It's factory sealed. That's awesome. I'm going to open it up to watch it, but it's so pretty amazing to come across this. $1 for that. That was a fantastic deal indeed. And now, definitely the best for last. Even though this was a nice pile of stuff right here, I thought, okay, I got a decent amount of stuff. Not too bad. Not my greatest Jake's haul ever, but not a bad haul either. You know, it was an okay day. I'd be satisfied with just that. But as I'm walking down the very last aisle of vendors, the very last row of vendors at Jake's, I see what I was assuming was a whole bunch of VHS. There were a bunch of bins just full of what looked like a bunch of VHS, and the first bin was VHS, second bin was VHS, got to the third bin, and I noticed something, and that was a beta tape. And then I noticed another one, and another one, and another one, and so on and so forth. And as it turns out, this entire bin was full of beta. That is not something I see very often. I rarely ever come across beta, and if I do, it's usually maybe like 1 or 2 tapes, 2 if lucky, usually just 1 here and there, sporadically. but to come across an entire bin full of beta was pretty awesome. So I didn't even bother to look through it. I just said, how much? How much for everything, the entire bin? And the guy was pretty excited because he just wanted to get rid of it. And he said, how about 20 for everything, which sounded good to me. I ended up getting 41 beta titles for only $20. That's like 50 cents a piece. Awesome, awesome deal. I don't even know what's here. I didn't even look. I didn't, I wasn't going to pick and choose. I didn't check to see what he had. I just said, I'll just take the whole thing. Give me a good price. I'll take the whole thing. And 20 bucks was definitely a good deal. So again, I don't really even know what's here. We're going to figure this one out together. We're going to take a look at what I got. So this is awesome. Again, 41 beta titles for 20 bucks. Definitely an awesome way to end Jake's. I was actually done at that point. At that point, I actually had like the front of Jake's I could have hit up, but I just said, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go out on a high note. So very awesome. So all right, let's see what I got. So first up, we have True Stories. I've actually never seen this. I've actually come across this a few times on, I think, DVD, but I've never bothered to pick it up, so very cool. Then we have, Something of God. Is it Agnes? Agnes of God. Am I saying that right? I have no idea. But Jane Fonda, very cool. Let me know about that one. I've never even heard of that movie. Not the slightest clue. Meryl Streep in Plenty, Plenty. Wow, that's hard to read. So very, very cool. Again, yeah, Plenty. Never seen that one either. I have no idea. Cool HBO release though. Another HBO release. Oh, Heaven Help Us. I actually just recently added this to my wish list. So that's a really cool find. Nice. I'll have to check that one out. I've been wanting to see that. Hairspray. Look at that. Really cool artwork as well. So some great John Waters here on beta. That's really cool. I love when they just stick them in these like regular cases and then just mark it with a beta sticker. So cheap, but so awesome. Well, this one's still factory sealed. We have Gardens of Stone by Francis Coppola. That's cool. I've never seen that. I have no idea. Looks pretty awesome. Again, still factory sealed, which is cool. Clockwise. Nice. Some John Cleese right there. Very, very cool. I have this movie. I've not watched it yet, though, so that's great. It's a Wonderful Life. That's awesome. A Room with a View. Another movie I've never seen. I've certainly heard about this movie. I've heard good things, but I've never seen it. This is the Milagro? I don't know how to pronounce any of this stuff. The Milagro Banfield War. I have no idea. I've never even heard of this movie. Don't know what that is. Raising Arizona. Classic. The 400 Blows. I've never seen this either. I don't know anything about that. From 1959. Not the slightest clue. Cool artwork, though. This is Garbo Talks. That's awesome. Hannah and Her Sisters. Very cool. Nice. After Hours. Awesome. Some great 80s right there. Round Midnight. Oh, The King of Comedy. Great movie. I just watched this for the first time. I know. It's a movie I should have seen a long time ago, but I just watched this for the first time like a couple weeks ago. And it was great. I loved it. Everything I've heard was correct. This is a good movie as well. Young Sherlock Holmes. Awesome, awesome movie. Highly recommend that one. The Gay Divorce. Cool. Ooh, a double set here. This is Golda. There's a lot of movies in here. I've never heard of it. I have no idea how to pronounce. That is kind of weird. Fade to Black on beta. This is amazing. I am officially blown away the fact that I have Fade to Black now on beta. That is really cool. This is a great movie and just a really cool release to have on beta. It's like amazing shape too. That is an awesome. This, possibly the best, coolest thing. I'm gonna put that aside. Possibly the coolest thing in this. That's awesome. I'm really blown away by this. Tears for Fears, In My Mind's Eye. Great, some good music there. Oh, some more good music. Police Around the World. Zachariah the First Electric Western. Never seen that or heard of it. Desert Bloom, which unfortunately has been cut open, unfortunately, but it is what it is. That's okay. So some John Voight right there. Very cool. This is... My God. What is with all this stuff I can't pronounce? Emusha, the Shadow Warrior? I don't have any idea what this is. Again, another movie I've never heard of. I have no idea what this is. Leave some comments down below. Atlantic City. I'll actually be going there in a couple weeks. I don't live too far away from Atlantic City. I've been there many times. So, awesome. Mr. Lucky. This is Gallipoli. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's see. The Missionary. That's really cool. And Michael Palin. That's awesome. I have it on DVD. I haven't watched it yet, though. And I thought it was Factory Seal. It's not. Ooh, Father Goose. Also really cool. The Tubes video. Never seen that or heard of it. I guess, is the Tubes a band? I have no idea who this is. I seriously don't. EMI music video. So this is a band. What songs do the Tubes sing? Do I know any of their music? Leave a comment down below. Like, did they have any hits? Should I recognize? Like, if I play this, will I go, oh, that band? You leave a comment. I don't know. I don't recognize the name though. All of Me, awesome. My Man Godfrey, very cool. My Favorite Year, that's awesome. And then we have Zlig. Am I saying that correctly? What is with all this beta I don't know how to pronounce? This is really weird. I don't usually get this many titles on a more obscure genre that I don't know how to pronounce. This is really, really bizarre. Fun thing is I haven't seen many of these either, so it's going to be watching these all for the first time, which is cool. Woody Allen, apparently, so very cool. I don't know. I've never seen this. Written and directed by Woody Allen. I don't even recognize this movie. I don't know why. Leave some comments down below. Thief. Blow Up. Ooh, this is cool. Love and Death. That's a Woody Allen movie I've actually never seen, but I've always wanted to, so that's awesome. And The Wanderers. Look at that. Really cool artwork there as well. That is awesome. What is this? All right, well, first of all, that's just awesome looking. I love the case, but there's a piece of paper inside. Wow. This is from a place called Beta Liquidators that was in Bethlehem, PA. There was actually a store, no joking, called Beta Liquidators. That is amazing. Is there a date on here? From 1989, 12/09/89. That is so cool. Wow, they picked up 9 beta tapes for $4.23 a piece. That is really cool. You know what? I'm gonna keep that in there. That is pretty amazing. Beta Liquidators. Wow, from 1989, that's really cool. So definitely the coolest thing out of all this, I'm going to say, is definitely the Fade to Black. That is amazing right there. I can't believe I had this on beta. That's really cool. I think I have it on VHS as well, and I know I have it on DVD. But now I have a copy on beta. That's really cool. In fact, I can probably put my VHS to rest. I think my VHS I only have because of this awesome artwork. I believe it has the same exact artwork. So I'll probably just keep my beta and just put on Listia my VHS. So that's awesome. That's amazing. So there you go, guys. That was my trip out to Jake's and everything I picked up. So much cool stuff. Again, I thought it was just going to kind of be like a standard, pickups. Not too much, just an okay amount of stuff, some okay deals. And then all this beta at the very end. I still can't believe I came across this much beta. This is amazing. It doesn't happen. When do I ever come across an entire box of beta? Never. So very cool to really beef up my beta collection. I mean, I already have a decent amount of stuff on beta, but this just beats it up so much more. So that's absolutely fantastic. So really good trip out to Jake's. Definitely glad I ran out there. Definitely glad I decided to weather the heat and the wind and the dust. It was totally worth it for basically beta alone. So awesome, awesome deal. So all right, guys, there you go. That is it. So like I always say, thank you guys so much for checking this video out. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Also, if you're not already subscribed, you want to see a brand new video from me every single day, then hit that subscribe button and you will get one. Also, if you want to grab yourself a Cinema Sickness t-shirt, hoodie, tank top, hats, buttons, kids gear, all kinds of cool Cinema Sickness gear, head over to cinemasickness.spreadshirt.com where you can get yourself some of that. And finally, if you want to support new content, just show your thanks and appreciation for these videos, head over to patreon.com/cinemasickness where every tiny little bit helps and is very much greatly appreciated. So again, that is it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.